This is SNAFU.
All right, welcome to another episode of SNAFU T.O. edition.
Episode 3.
Yeah, we are here tonight with Shane from Adepticon fame. Mm-hmm. I don't know if it's fame.
Well,
Adepticon. I don't know, whatever you want to call it.
Probably the largest con in North America, I think, is a safe bet. Although LVO is getting really close.
Yeah, I was going to say LVO might be on par or close to.
It's those coast things. You got to factor that in when you get into the Midwest.
Yeah.
You got to factor population density.
Largest Midwest tournament by far. Largest tournaments, I suppose.
It's bigger than ours.
Yeah.
That's not what she said, but...
Right at the top. Wow,
right?
Good job.
Right away.
Yeah. Anyway, welcome, Shane. Say hi.
Thanks, everyone. Happy to be here.
I'm going to already tangent right off the top. Are you working on anything hobby-wise?
Yeah. So there's always tons of stuff going on with the hobby. Fallschirmjäger is my primary army.
Okay.
I started with them 2 or 3 years ago now, before the winter kit was out. So I took the Waffen kit and then the Fallschirmjäger kit. Kind of used the Waffen bodies that are shaved off, like the little bands that are on the sleeves there.
Sure.
Get rid of them that way. They look less like Waffen and more like a snowsuit. Threw the heads on there from the Fallschirmjäger kit, and then green stuff, little hoods on them, and scarves and stuff like that.
Wow.
And then I was in between jobs at that time, so I had
Okay.
plenty of hobby time. I would not
Sure.
do that again.
Wow, he's already gotten way more involved than I ever have.
That's conversion level.
I once
bolt
put
action is pretty
green
good.
stuff on some British 8th Army, so they look like the SS guys with the little hat flap things on them. That's as close as I got.
I'm on with you, Shane, because I literally made furry hats for my Romanian guys that I never finished.
Or
so they all have the little furry caps that they're supposed to wear in the winter. I feel lots of green stuff on tiny little guys.
Oh yeah. So
Hoods is impressive.
I was excited when the new kit came out, because that means I didn't have to kit bash anything if I wanted to add more to it. But
There you
also,
go.
then more people have the army that I worked hard to kit bash on. So it was kind of like that little double-edged sword there. But now I've been adding a ton to it.
Sure.
And so I painted that army to the highest level that I could. So now every time I add on to it, I have to spend countless hours painting. And so right now I'm working on getting an artillery platoon built out for it, and getting that ready for Border Wars, which is in Wisconsin. It's Illinois versus Wisconsin. We fight over a trophy at Old Guard Games. So
yeah, I was going to say I just saw the trophy not that long ago. I was contemplating if I could make it down there for it, even though I'm not Wisconsin or Illinois. But
we got some
if
Iowa
you got
guys
family
coming
from
in,
Wisconsin,
and then
Rick, I think
Michigan
you could take that.
right, well, we could just take it back to Minnesota. Not that I'm going to be the guy that does that, but it's a team scoring though, right? It's like an aggregate of the two sides, right?
Yeah, so we take the Andrew's running that one. So Chicago Dice there's about 10 of us now, I'd probably say. And so Andrew's running this one, Border Wars. It's going to be the second year for this one, hopes to be ongoing here. We got a guy who wants to set up Michigan versus Illinois. That's going to be in Indiana, kind of like a midpoint between us both. And then a bunch of other guys who are starting events too. So
I was just thinking, I'm like, it should probably be in one of your states, but that kind of works.
Well, you could do the winner who gets to host. That would be something.
Should just do it on a ferry on the lake.
Oh, that'd be a fun idea.
I would get sick, but it would cost a fortune too. But it would be fun.
Oh, definitely.
All right. Well, that sounds. I do like the new Fallschirmjäger kit. It's pretty friggin' cool.
I still have mine in the box. I'm looking forward to painting blue.
I've been putting together the new veterans sprues, and they just keep making good models, man.
Mm-hmm.
Those veterans were insane. When I got that box, it really tempted me to start another army, and I really don't need to do that because I have Winter US in the works too. Updating my Marine Army as well. That's work in progress. So plenty of stuff going on hobby-wise right now.
You stoked for the new book, or are you kind of like us where it's a little meh?
For Armies of US, I'm pretty excited for it. I feel like the national rules, like everyone has kind of said, is where it's a little slept on. But where I think it really shines is with those armored infantry units, where you can take the extra bazooka teams, because I was playing around on Easy Army because it just got updated with the units there for that one, I think just last week or two maybe. But you can make a pretty solid list now with just the rifle platoon for US, and that's pretty cool. I think some guy bumped it up to like 19 order dice, and it wasn't too like crazy or anything, which is just impressive with the rifle platoon, I think.
Yeah.
I have to give it a look. All right, so let's dive into some of the tournament organizing stuff. You, like I said, you were organizer of tournaments at Adepticon. Which ones did you run? Sorry, I wasn't there, so that's why I'm asking.
Yeah, not a problem. So at Adepticon, Chicago Dice hosted the Combat Patrol, which is the 500-point game. V2, it was 450 points that we ran for that, but with the change to the platoon structure and those additional NCOs, or not NCOs, platoon commanders.
Platoon commanders, yeah.
Now. Yeah, we decided to bump it to 500. That would be good. And so this was the first outing for Combat Patrol in V3. So we're still playing around with it a little bit, and I think it went pretty well. And I listened to your guys', or at least the first half of the Part 1 episode. So I appreciate some of the feedback that I heard in there from that one. Yeah, so. And then doubles as well. It was the other one that we run. We had a good showing. Our events normally sell out for both of those pretty early, actually. So those are pretty big events for us.
And it was bigger this year than previous years, correct? Like it sounded like the doubles was like.
It's like was it 40 teams?
So there was a total of, I believe it was. I'd have to double check actually. Yeah, I think there's like 80 people total or something like that.
Damn.
So
that's pretty good.
That's a huge draw for Midwest.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. And it sells out. In the past years, every year is sold out for that since I've been involved. Now, Andrew's been involved longer than I have. I've been involved with Chicago Dice for like 2 or 3 years now. So, since COVID, pretty much, is when I hopped in.
All right. Cool. That's, I mean...
So, do you guys... So, you said Chicago Dice runs it. Do you guys kind of pool your talents together and then you draw straws who has to sit down and be the TO for the day and who gets to actually play in the tournament?
Yeah, so the way that it worked was, I mean, Andrew took over the lead. He started Chicago Dice there, and then he just said things come up in life. He had a kid, and so he was looking for someone to hand it off to. So some of the other guys he kind of tapped on in the group to take over for this year, and I'm hoping that they continue to next year as well. But we do have a good number of guys that I'm sure would be more than willing, and if I needed to, I could go ahead and head TO those as well. But I run an event in Chicago. It's called the 4-Star Open. The 4 stars for the Chicago flag. It's always, I always forget, I think it's Veterans Day weekend. It's in November. But I always run that, and it'll be the 4th year for this one coming up. So, we run a good amount of events as a group.
Is that in Chicago then, or whereabouts exactly?
Yeah, that one's in Chicago. It's right
Chicago
near
proper, or?
Chicago proper.
Okay.
It's near Edgewater, is where it would be, which is on the northern side of the city. And it's at Chicago Dice Dojo, so they have an awesome basement there. They have 9 tables, and they're looking to get 2 or 3 more. So normally can run 18 people there. Is what we do.
Sweet.
I want to know more about the Chicago Dice Dojo. This sounds like a cool idea. Is it like a club room, or is it like a store?
It's a store.
Okay.
I think it's the best store in Chicago for any board games, Magic, or anything kind of stuff that we'd be interested in there. They have a whole entire... One side of the room is all tables for Magic, but then in that same room, the whole wall, it's probably 30, 40 feet long. It's just full of board games that anyone can pull off the shelf to play.
That sounds fun.
Then they have a basement as well, and that's where the 9 tables are.
I was going to say, that's where the historical guys get stuffed, right?
Yeah, so and 40K guys are down there too, and anyone playing miniature games is down there.
Okay.
The cool part is that we've painted up British Army that's on the wall, and then a Marine Army that's on the wall, so anyone can come down there and use those. They have multiple AOS armies that are painted up on the wall, 40K armies, for anyone that just wants to try out the games too. So,
cool.
It's pretty awesome.
That's pretty sweet.
All right, so what's your role in that one? Is that one you run yourself?
Yeah, so for the 4-Star Open, that one's the one that I run myself, that I TO it.
So how did you stumble across that location?
So I live in Chicago, and that's where all the miniature games are being played.
Okay.
So, talked to the owner there, just asked him if I could run something. He said, yeah, not a problem. And he actually plays bolt action himself, so.
Oh, that really helps sweeten the deal, doesn't it?
Yeah, no doubt.
So how'd you come across the event date? You said it was Veterans Weekend?
Just kind of lucked out for it being that weekend. I didn't even realize it for the first year that I scheduled it. And so since then, I'm like, oh, well, this fits perfect.
Right.
So I've tried to snag that date whenever I can. I usually got to email them like January or December the year before to grab the date because they have 40K AOS tournaments almost every single weekend. There's something going on there.
I hate competing for space with 40K.
So that's the story.
Those people are so smelly.
Come on now.
Oh, man.
Very few of them, but there's some ruin it for everyone.
Yes, some do ruin it for everyone.
To be fair, bolt action has the same problem. Gaming in general.
Yeah. Bunch of neckbeards, right?
Yeah, nah.
Well, a significant number anyway.
We have fun.
Yes. So what was it cost to get into that tournament?
Yeah, so the prices varied year from year. The first year I charged a little more, but that was just me kind of figuring out like the costs and everything, being a first-time TO. So it started off being $20, and part of that was going towards the basement also has enough terrain for AOS and 40K and kind of like sci-fi fantasy stuff. They have enough terrain down there in the basement that's all painted by the community for there to be every table full. The bolt action stuff, there's enough for 2 or 3 tables that they have down there, and so I wanted to get us some more. And so that was part of the entry cost. Was part of it compensating for the paints and things that I bought for painting some of the terrain that already existed down there, and then also for getting to store some additional bolt action terrain is where that factored in.
Okay, and that's is that a one-day event?
Yeah, just a 1 day, 3 games is what I found best works for our community there. A lot of guys don't want to come out for 5 games, but so that's worked out pretty well. Last year I charged $10 for it. This year coming up, I'm probably looking at $5, just because it's mostly buying.
Dang.
This store doesn't charge anything for us to be there, so it's all just kind of like admin fees.
Yep, that's useful.
That's nice.
Jeez, I want a $5 tournament.
$5 for 3 games for 3 opponents that shouldn't be able to leave when you play. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You Mustang. Although at $5, they probably don't even care. They're like, I'm good. I've got no very, very limited financial.
Some of these lists I've seen, you put them on the table, and you're just like, no thanks.
Make me want to go play more.
Admin. If it makes it any better, we always like to say that we're sponsored by Old Style. We're not, but I always make sure that there's at least 40 or 60 Old Styles down there in the cooler as well. So that's what part of the admin fee goes to.
That's even better.
That's a pretty good admin
there
fee
too, huh?
Oh yeah. Okay. You can bring down there whatever you want, so it works out well.
Dude, this is a cool shop,
right?
So all right, so you bring in beer. Do you bring in food for them too on that day, or you just make them go get their own for lunch?
So I make them go get their own lunch. I do bring snacks, because what I found is that when you're ordering for a group of 18 plus people with all the different diet restrictions and everything, it becomes a lot of admin work and just keeping track on the TO's end for who can have what and different options and everything. So
it
just makes it easier if everyone can run out. There's Edgewater Tacos, which is less than a block away, and it has some of the best tacos, I would say, probably in the city. It's a really nice spot. And there's a couple other restaurants right around there too, so it's not like anyone's traveling far to go get food or anything.
Okay,
nice.
Yeah, that's not so bad. Yeah, you definitely want to take into account what's around your event. Like I know when we had Adepticon, sure there was food vendors around the event, but the 45 minutes got eaten up, literally, just getting to them and getting through a line to get something.
Yeah.
Adepticon was crazy.
That was insane.
Everything
a lot of people.
So much too. Yeah, tons of people.
10,000, I think I heard.
Okay.
I don't know if you guys heard anything different than that, but I heard the number
like
10,000
in previous years, but I don't know.
That's I think the last time was pre-COVID. They were talking about 6,000 to 7,000.
It seems like a million.
It feels like a million. And
it's just like the busiest airport I've ever been in my life. That's what it feels like.
That's a great comparison.
It's just cool shit to look at, but it feels like an airport.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not talking down Adepticon. I actually love Adepticon. There's lots of cool shit there, but just the hallways themselves are just like overwhelming.
Well, you should wait till you see the new venue.
Yeah, the new venue is significantly easier to navigate, but still.
Some more modernized convention center. Like, Schaumburg wasn't that big. It felt like it was a big convention center, but it was not that big when you like actually sat down and looked at it compared to like even like the Minneapolis Convention Center.
Yeah, so was it the Braid Convention Center? Is that what it was?
Baird.
Baird.
Yeah, I think it was Baird.
I was averaging 8 miles a day, whereas when we were back in Chicago, Schaumburg, it was closer to 6.5. So
stats,
and that one wasn't even made up on the spot. So
right.
Well, like 70% of all stats are made up on the spot.
Exactly.
Something like that.
So,
anyway.
All right, so you've run tournament types. We know about Combat Patrol. We'll get into that a little bit later. You have your event that you have. Sorry, what was the name of it?
Chicago 4-Star Open is the official 4 title, but a lot of guys will just call it 4-Star or 4-Star Open. Or
it's different than a 5-star. So, is that a competitive, a narrative, or what kind of tournament type is that?
Yeah, it leans more towards the competitive side. But
Okay.
one of the things overarching with Chicago Dice is that we're not looking for any like the whack win at all costs kind of stuff at the events. So we normally kind of check all the lists and everything beforehand, kind of see like what people's intents are and everything like that. And normally we'll have some guidelines on like ban lists and everything. With V3, I'm still pretty up in the air at this point in time for what should be on that list, just because I feel like with the Armies of books coming out and there haven't been too many games played, and things are still changing until we get the full edition out, is what I would like to say. So,
I applaud that stance.
It's changing as the new editions come out.
Right.
So.
New books come out, things change. But I feel like people are knee-jerking too fast, too quick. I appreciate your holding off and pausing until we see what actually is happening.
And each guy that TOs for Chicago Dice kind of has their own take on it. So I'd say I'm probably one of the more loose ones with that ban list, and then other people are more intense with that.
Okay.
I know I can't remember which one of you guys it was, but with the autocannon tanks.
That was Jeff.
I would have let that one slide, but that wasn't my. I wasn't head TO there, so
sure.
Well, considering what you brought instead, like that, the autocannon tanks were not the problem.
Well, and then we played against a guy who brought 5 of the Polish tankettes. We're like, they're 5 autocannon tanks. That isn't spamming. Come on.
Yeah,
well, it was spamming.
Yeah.
That's all right. I mean, it's what it is. We're all trying to figure out this new edition. So
I'm not faulting on that one at all.
No.
Or you don't know that he didn't take the comp hit. Like
that's true.
He could just been like, I don't give a crap what you email me. I'm going to take them anyway. And then the guy's like, okay, take your negative points and move along.
And you'll like it.
Who knows?
No, it's all good.
So when you make the players pack, do you only give it to the people that sign up for the event, or do you like post it on a Facebook or something like that and just let the general public have at it?
Yeah, you're talking about like the
actual player pack for the tournament.
Without the scenarios, yeah.
Without the scenarios, yeah. How to build it, what you're expecting, what the build rules are for this, the points and all that kind of stuff.
So initially, I was just posting. We have a Discord that I run for it's for Chicago Dice Dojo, but we've kind of became a partner with Chicago Dice on that one there. So we have our own historical Discord. So I would initially just post it in there, and then once I got linked up more with Andrew, who runs the Chicago Dice website, I've been able to actually post on there. So we'll have our own page, and that'll have just on the web page itself all the player pack information. Cool. We'll try to post that link out on like the Midwest Bolt Action Facebook. I don't have Facebook, so I rely on other guys to post it there that do have Facebook, so I don't know the exact name of the group that it's sent to. But otherwise, I'll go on to like any of the other Midwest Discords that I've been invited to. So I know there's one in Wisconsin that I'm part of, so I'll throw it in their event page there.
There's a SNAFU Discord somewhere.
And I'm on that one too, and I know I've thrown the pack in your guys' a couple times. And actually, for that first 4-star that I ran, I can't remember which one of you guys I pinged, but I had some questions because it was the first tournament I was running, and so I appreciate that advice that was given back when I was first getting started there.
I'm sure Jeff gave you great advice. Hey, Rick, can we have a SNAFU website? No?
Okay. We do. It's just our podcast, though.
Oh, okay. So we can't do other stuff with other things. Okay.
The thing is I have had one in the past, and it's just like there's so many places to get information from, and like I don't know.
Yeah, I think Shane pointed out about a half dozen right there.
Yeah, like, that's the problem. Is like there's
the shotgun effect.
It's just one more place to put it, and one more place
manage.
for people to like not. Right, like it just. I'm a source of truth guy, so like I'd rather have it in a few places, especially when we're like doing it at Renegade. Like they insist on having it on their website anyway. So
Yep.
I don't know. I don't know if there isn't a great way to manage player packs and shit like that. Like from best place to find it on the internet.
I think what I've usually done is they sign up with an email and I email it to them. I mean, that's one step above putting it in an envelope with a postage stamp. But
I next year we should just send it to them via snail mail. That'd be great. Well, like because like we tell them like here's the point level. Like we give the basics, but we don't necessarily go deep into. You probably would lay out the comp before people sign up, but you would not necessarily like give the full expectations prior to them signing up. I don't know. I guess I don't look for the player pack beforehand unless I can't find like how many points is it? Like is there going to be dice limitations, shit like that.
Let's ask Shane, what do you include in your player pack? What are must includes in your player pack?
Yeah, so must includes in the player pack. I mean, like you just mentioned there, order dice limit and points for sure. Was there a question?
Though I mean, like to me, it was just like, right. I guess there's the player pack, and then there's just promotional stuff. But like, I guess I don't expect a player pack before I get my email or before I sign up. Like, I don't know. I guess that's the question I have just at broad or in general is, do people expect the player pack before they sign up?
I think in our group, with a lot of local guys in the Midwest, like to see the player pack first. Just lets them know what they're signing up for.
Right. Yeah, that's fair.
As a whole, Chicago Dice organization, we run a lot of different structured events. So so we have combat patrol doubles. We have escalation events too that start at. I mean, it's changed from V2 to V3 with the points here, but it used to be combat patrol, so 450 points to 750 to 1,000. And this year, for the escalation that we had called Polar Vortex, which was run for some of our other guys, who took it over from Andrew, they did 750, 1,000, and 1,250. And so with those. Cool. You got to know what's the order dice limit for each one of those. It kind of gives you a heads up for what you're looking at, what kind of forces you have. If you can do this, what you got to add to it beforehand. And so I think that helps getting the player pack out to people first, just giving them an idea of what they're signing up for, what they're getting into, and what they need to do to prep before paying the registration fee.
Cool. Yeah.
Other things that I think are crucial in there is kind of like the date. I mean, you got to have the date before you sign up for something.
That's date and address are very useful. Yes.
Date and address. I always try to throw in parking too, like where parking is going to be.
Okay.
Just because
that's
I know that.
It's a very Chicago thing. Yeah.
Especially in Chicago. Yeah, because there's some free spots around the store, but if you weren't local to the area, weren't going to the store all the time, you wouldn't know. And I don't want guys paying the Chicago parking fees and having to run out and feed the meter or download the app or whatever they need to do if they're not living in the city. So
sure.
And sorry, we've built in 10 minutes into the game so people can go back out and feed the meter every half hour.
It's just to your lunch, dude. Got to do your lunch. Man. Yeah, I wouldn't want to deal with that during a tournament.
No.
One more thing to think about. No thanks.
I did that in Wisconsin at Border Wars one time. So that was...
Yeah, because Old Guard, like half of Old Guard is on like the campus road. That is, everything's metered.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah, I don't know if all of the roads there are metered, but like the ones right in front of Old Guard are.
I haven't figured it out
just where you want to park.
Exactly, wherever you want to park, and then behind Old Guard's like in the neighborhood too. Once you get into those neighborhood streets, the hours there are goofy too on all those street signs. So you can't park back there either.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
I feel like the weekends were okay though. I don't remember. I remember I've been there several times now. I have family in Milwaukee, so I stop in there whenever I'm there because they have arguably the most miniatures I've ever seen in any store. Maybe outside of the Source, but
it's definitely one of the most amazing stores I've been into. Just from like the layout, I mean the artwork that he's got in there on the walls and everything, the suits of armor. I mean the basement's awesome.
It's clean and it's well. Yeah, I mean it's brand new, like or relatively brand new. Like it's but it's very, very nice store.
Oh yeah, our local store I would say it's on par with that if Wolfguards have been around for 30 or 40 years. The basement's more like unfinished, kind of, everything's been down there for forever, so it's just older, more worn in, but it's kind of got that cozy worn in feel to it too.
Sure.
With, Dice Dojo there.
I'm 5'6", and I think I could hit my head in the ceiling at Old Guard though.
Oh yeah, and
the
they have
ceiling
that,
is
like
really
air vent
low.
or whatever running through the middle downstairs. You've got to duck all the time.
Yeah, the 4-foot clearance under that duct. Yeah.
Oh yeah. I've seen a couple of guys hit their head, and I've done it twice too. So
yeah, easy done. It's not hard to do there. Sorry, I'm just looking over our agenda now.
So Combat Patrol. Let's hone in on that one. Tell us what was in that player's pack. What was the composition? How did all that work and go together?
Yeah. So for Combat Patrol there, I'll have to double check just because I might be confusing some V2 stuff with our Combat Patrol pack, since that's been 3 or 4 years that we've been doing that, and now just with the change here. But for Combat Patrol, for this year it was 500 points. In years past, we've always allowed Armor 8, so for this year we let Armor 8 in too. That's something that we might address. I don't know, you guys called out as well, maybe Armor 7 there, so it's definitely something that we could take a look at. Mm-hmm. Our overall goal for Combat Patrol is we feel like bolt action scales pretty well, especially compared to some other miniature games when you go point-wise. So 500 points feels like it's kind of like a sweet spot where you can get a game through pretty quick while still getting an overall feel of bolt action, which I think works out actually better than I ever thought it would. One of the other things for Chicago Dice that we typically do is the platoon commander has to be the veterancy of, like, the average veterancy of your overall army. So if you have
the average, right? Yeah. So if you've got all inexperienced, then you can run an inexperienced. But if you've got 2 vets and 2 regular, then it has to be regular.
Is that, you said army? Is that, do you mean at the platoon,
or by platoon
level or at the army? Not that it probably makes much of a difference at 500 points, but
so typically it's by. I'll have to check for Combat Patrol exactly what's there, because like I said, we run a lot of different formats, but typically it's by the platoon itself is what we're shifting to. So I know with Border Wars coming up there, for each platoon that you have, the platoon commander has to be like the average veterancy of that platoon, but then if we have a company commander, it has to be the army average.
Okay.
That makes sense. Okay.
Cool. I really like that rule, by the way.
And with that kind of goes into our. We want competitive events. We're not against competitive events or anything like that, but we also want them to be more historically competitive. We're not rivet counters or anything like that, but we're not trying to break the game overall is what we're trying to do. So that's just one of those little things that I think we'd sneak in there so that people aren't just taking those inexperienced commanders to kind of save a few points for something else.
Do the
min-maxing shit.
Yeah. And I feel like with those commanders now, being able to take like 4 or 5 plus guys in that command squad is actually really big. So,
I think that's going to steer away the NX spam.
Oh yeah, it's a whole other infantry squad that you get to play around with. So.
Right, exactly.
Once people figure that out, yes.
Right, especially because the rifle platoon you can only get 4 squads, and you're usually looking for 1 more, and that really lends itself to it.
Well, or even if not, if you're taking 4, one of your 4 could be your platoon commander.
Sure. Could be squirreled
take
in that
one
one.
less of the other ones, like if you are looking to save points. But
oh yeah, and it's more survivable. You get the command bonus now that those guys can actually run up there and support guys like you'd hope that they would in V2. So
V2 was a game of hide the lieutenant, wasn't it?
Oh yeah. They only showed up at the last moment, maybe a last minute objective grabber when everyone else was cleaned off the table or something like that. So.
Or if you were really desperate.
Really desperate.
Maybe I was really desperate.
They all had SMGs, though, didn't they?
Oh,
they did.
All the time.
For sure. As a German player, we had fat guys running around, because that's all you had, was you could only...
But you could do regular,
yeah. Well, you could do regular, but... Could you do...
You could not do an experience.
You could not do an
V2.
Yeah. I would take them at vet, though, and run them around.
Yeah.
I did find the exact Combat Patrol rules here, just bouncing around on the website where we have everything posted.
That's handy.
It's awesome. Once I got linked up with them and was able to post stuff on the website, it's been a huge game changer compared to keeping track of it how I used to.
Was that Word files on your computer?
Word files posted in Discord. Did I pin it or not? How many messages do I got to scroll back for to find it? What channel?
We'll search, find that one or 40 other things that aren't mine.
Yeah. So it's been super nice being able to just get everything posted on here, and actually have read and write permission on there now, so I can throw stuff up there myself. But
handy.
Oh yeah, it's awesome. But just the overall combat patrol platoon special rules is the header that we have here for this. But so, like we already mentioned, that leadership standard, the morale level of the platoon commander must be equal to or greater than the morale level of the majority of units in the platoon. So we did have it for platoon for this one as well. We didn't allow artillery platoons in this one. This is something, like I said, V3 is still relatively new, so for combat patrol, weren't sure how that would play out in there, and we're trying to keep it more infantry and mobile focused for combat patrol, especially at those lower points. I think that being able to be mobile is crucial, so kind of steering people that way there. Engineer platoons were also not allowed. Now, I'm trying to struggle to actually incorporate engineer platoons myself into games that I'm playing, so this one didn't necessarily impact, I don't think, a lot of people that I spoke to personally. But
yeah, you've got two pools of people. You've got the barbecues, and then you've got everybody else.
And flamethrowers are something we can get into as well if we have time later, I'm sure. For what everyone's thoughts are on those now in V3. But
yeah,
we also didn't want forward artillery or air observers at 500 points, just because
that's scary.
It could be brutal. Yeah.
Yep.
We didn't throw company commanders in there as well for this year. You could possibly snap to your whole entire army. I mean, if you're running a German company commander there. So, and then I believe this wasn't even supposed to be in the book to start, but with the intro to V3, how the U.S. and Soviets could take like multiple MMGs still and anti-tank rifles. So, want to make sure that spam wasn't happening there, just for people to pump up their dice.
Yep.
Yeah, that had a lot of misunderstanding around how that actually worked. The multiples only works once per force, but it wasn't clearly spelled out unless you knew what the writer was intending to write.
Yeah,
and that is often the case, I feel like, that we all find here. So.
I had the small advantage in that I knew what he was trying to write. But in fact, they were even originally supposed to be in there. They just got copy and pasted in. It's like, oh,
copy
what do I know?
in there, yeah.
Great.
You see a lot of that too when you read those books closely. So even with the images and stuff like that, it's kind of amazing.
The German book is just riddled with bad copy and paste. It's like,
oh yeah.
So,
Warlord
sorry.
does a
Anyway,
good job,
keep going on. So you're leaving those guys out. The FAO's out. Understandable.
Yep. And then for heavy weapons there, so HE3, HE4, we don't allow those in at combat patrol. I mean, 500 points HE4 you can do.
Boom.
Yeah. So much work. So no hurrahs or anything like that for Japanese players or any other cheap HE4s that you might be able to fit in there that are mounted on vehicles. Another one that we have is no vehicle-mounted flamethrowers. I mean, basically this list is try to gear it towards 500 points. That way there's no, like, Death Star units running around that are just going to, whack a whole unit off the table.
No one can do anything against.
Right.
Yeah. And we also like to try to keep it, like I said, more infantry focused as well. So 3 vehicles max, and then armor 8 is the max there. It can kind of be tough. I know it can be done to fit 3 vehicles in there, but you're really kind of gearing towards that. No
one's going to want to do that with the soft skin, no. Oof.
Ooh, yeah, soft skins.
No.
We don't take those anymore. So, yeah, haven't seen one of those on the table in, I want to say, one of my 20 or so V3 games. I've seen one soft skin, and that's it.
Yeah.
The 3 we saw all had Recce.
Yeah, that's the only soft skins we saw.
Yeah.
Recce is also a rule that I'm not sold on with stuff being able to run off the table now, especially with those dual directional steering Recce vehicles.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
with the FUBAR result?
Yeah, because they can just
disappear. Just a failed order test.
Tear off.
Mm-hmm.
Well, right, yeah. Well, let's face it, with the leadership floating around there, usually the failed order test is a FUBAR.
Yeah.
Usually, yeah, but you'd be surprised how well my dice can roll sometimes.
That's true. You can get very precision 11s when you need them.
I sure can.
In a 1,000-point game, I had my veteran Panther back off the table.
Oh, no.
Well.
Oh, no.
Yeah. So
That'll do it.
Panther, what was it doing so close to the edge?
Well, it's got to come on.
My opponent had 3 anti-tank assets, and that was my only one, so I had to position it in the most optimal spot, and it happened to be by the tank ledge.
So that's one of those bolt action happens moments.
Yes, it was a good game against one of my good buddies, but yeah. So those are kind of things. I know we've already tangented a little bit here, but for combat patrol, try to keep it more infantry focused, mobile, and no kind of like powerful units that are going to remove a whole unit at once. It's kind of the goal for our format there.
Okay. Yeah, it's interesting how similar yet completely different combat patrol structure is to my recon rumble structure.
And I think that we have, I don't know if they saw your recon rumble stuff, but we got a guy that wants to do something like that too, that he's maybe going to kick off here in July, or I think July is what he's shooting for, over at another store in the suburbs around us. So,
okay.
I don't know if, like I said, I don't know if you saw your recon rumble. I've seen it in the past before, looked at that pack.
I've had a lot of TOs reach out and ask for it, and of course it gets tweaked every year just because I don't want my players bringing the same exact list every year.
Mm-hmm.
So I modify a thing or two here or there just to freshen up. But the overall sense is that it's a mobile force, so everything basically has to be able to keep moving for the most part. And so that means you're not having stuff that's pre-deployed, or you're not going to have infiltrators. You're going to have something that has marked position because it's the force is traveling from point A to point B, and it's the engagements that happen along that.
No, that sounds awesome.
Yours is more, hey, we're really talking about the infantry. Little micro battles are happening. Mine is about, I think we're about 700 points. It's just about what happens when forces are moving into position and end up engaging each other.
Mm-hmm.
So nothing with infiltrators, no artillery platoons. It is a mandatory recce platoon, and then you can have a 0-2 rifle platoon.
Very cool. It's cool that the recce platoon's mandatory there.
Yeah, I mean and of course all the missions are designed for the mobile force being happen. So I mean every single game is going to be a first wave deployment, and everything is about moving to a point or moving at a point or destroying the enemy. So that's how that one gears up. So it's weird that we're kind of similar in the points, but the two are completely different, and that's what's really cool about bolt action, honestly.
Yep.
Oh yeah, and that's just kind of like that scalability that we talked about a little bit earlier. Just I feel like you can homebrew this pretty well while still fitting into the bolt action constraints there, and it still plays like a good game. Which is part of the reason why I play this game.
You'd hit something right in the head there too when you talked about now in V3 we have these platoon structures, and as a TO you can just make one of them not available. Like that's not the style of game we want to run here, so we're going to take this artillery out. I don't want stationary pieces, so I'll take out the heavy weapons platoon. So I think that's really nice, the way they do that.
Yep. Yeah. I really enjoyed the flexibility it's given TOs out there to have tournaments.
So all right, so I didn't do combat patrol. So Jeff and Shane, you guys guide me through this. But what did you guys have for scoring, and what was and I guess for the doubles as well? How was the scoring captured? Where were the points? What were the awards? I saw there was the question was, did your opponents behave in a way that was normal? It was like a yes/no for sportsmanship or something like that. How did all that filter in, and how did that generate stats for you on your end?
Yeah, so for the event scoring, we do like to, as Chicago Dice as a whole, we like to incorporate some painting into your overall score, actually.
Mm-hmm.
Years past, we used to have a super detailed rubric, and it was actually it was very time consuming, to put it lightly, as a TO running around and trying to do the grading on there. It was like 45 points or something max, and it was very broken out, and that just didn't work for us during a lunchtime. And plus then too, what we kind of decided is that the paint score, if guys are over a certain level, that's great. Then we can look at them for best painted. So we used to break down, get that whole score into their score, and would actually throw off kind of people's placements. I know personally I finished like third without the paint score at one of the events. I would have finished like 8th. So
yeah.
after talking through that a little bit, we decided that what we're going to do is we're going to change the painting rubric to be 15 points is like you have the 3 colors there, you have like a wash on it, maybe a dry brush, there's a basing material on there, like a tuff or 2. and then you get your full 15 points. So we're looking for...
Hey, I would have gotten 15 points.
So that's what we're looking for. And then you'll get your full 15 paint points there. The purpose for still including that into the score is we don't want someone to roll up with a bunch of Gurkhas that they just ordered off of Warlord's website or Amazon or wherever, spray painted them, like glued whatever on the base, and throw them on the table. We don't want that, like, those people to come out and like win those events, kind of. At least personally for the ones that I'm running. So that paint score kind of helps make that difference. Like, if you're going to come and play, you got to have an army. If you want to try to place a top table that at least is tabletop standard, is what we're looking for.
So, no, if you get Gurkhas, got to paint them.
You got it. I would, if I'm playing an army that's really good, I hope that the army's really painted well too. Well, it's kicking my teeth in, so it makes it feel
right.
That's fair.
And so that's kind of our goal with that one there. We still have it go up to 40 points or so, but once you hit like 25 or 30 points, you kind of get thrown into the we'll come back and look at your army for best painted deal. And that's one of the event awards as well, is best painted that we have.
But so, like, you don't include that in their score then? You just include the 15.
Right. So
and then everything beyond that is just for the purposes of scoring the best painted army.
Exactly.
Okay. So that works. That's a really nice way of doing it.
Yeah, I saw your guys' rubric that you have, and I kind of lifted and tailored it for now Sledgehammer that I'm running here at the end of June. I'm going to use that as part of the score incorporation too.
I'm going to raise my hand. I'm going to raise my hand and say that if you're using a rubric, I really think that needs to be in a player pack. Then, if you're going to publish other stuff early,
it already is.
Rubrics are nice to have. I'm not saying it isn't. I'm just like, that's just as a call out in general.
And also, yes, Shane also had it in his pack too for both the events.
Yeah, that's I love that when you can, like, right, people that they can paint to a checklist.
I was
right?
just going to say,
get all the things done.
Yep.
Give me a checklist and I can get to it.
Yep.
Or at least know how high on the checklist I'll be.
Right.
You can download those rubrics for each event too. Because I know doubles was different. The guy that ran doubles still had it like that full rubric in there for the scores, I believe.
Oh, so yours was lighter then. Okay, the Combat Patrol is lighter.
Combat Patrol is lighter. That one was run by Joe. So that one, it was just the 15 points there. And
okay.
I know because I was judging paint scores for both of them, and Combat Patrol, I got the rubric and ran with it, and then I got that one for doubles and was like, oh, it's our old one. We're using this one for this one. So had to try to go faster because, like I said, that rubric is hefty, and it's really hard to fit it in during a lunch period grading everyone's army, especially with doubles with how many players we have. Trying to get everyone's done.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think at doubles, one of you guys walked by and looked at our army over a little bit and saw the display mat, not board, that we had, and just said, do you have any conversions? Jeff's like, yeah, here, this one right here. Okay, thanks. And I just moved on. That was like,
that was probably me.
Okay.
Yep.
I mean, yeah.
It's like, yep, we're very tabletop. Do you have anything that makes it stand out, makes it special? This guy right here. Okay, thanks.
Check mark the box, and that's all I'm looking for there. So.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And it's hard to tell with those conversions in bolt action, because I mean, everyone, it's just a dude with a rifle, and so it's hard to tell when someone actually did stuff. So I try to ask if they're around.
I snuck in an M16. Ha.
Oh man, that would be powerful on the table.
Yeah.
But,
yeah.
Oh yeah.
And then we have battle points, so that's 20 points per game, and so you win, you get 20 points there, is what it comes down to. You still get points for a loss. You get 0 points if you drop out of that game or refuse to finish the game for whatever reason. So
rage quit.
Yeah, exactly. Sportsmanship score with that one. We don't have a sportsmanship award. We used to do those, but what we kind of figured there is it's kind of really tough to do, because ideally everyone should get max points for sportsmanship in my eyes. So we kind of look at that as everyone starts with 30 points, which is the max for our sportsmanship score, and those are your points to lose, is how we look at it here, not to gain. So
that makes sense, yeah.
We typically don't have anything. Sometimes guys will maybe lose 1 point or whatever, but we haven't run into anything too major, at least throughout my time running through these games here.
Nice. That's always nice.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah.
Don't have to deal with bullshit.
I've only had it once. It wasn't very fun.
Yeah.
No, yeah.
Those are the cringe moments where you feel the blood drain from your face and like, oh crap, I have to do something about this.
Oh, shit, I'm the captain.
Yeah, right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
I need an adult.
Fetch me my brown pants.
I had that the first event that I ran. A guy was running airborne, U.S. airborne, so all veterans, and he had 3 squads within 6 inches of each other. And some guy's Nebel Warfare rolled 6 sixes.
Oh no!
So hit all 3 of them with the D3 pins or whatever it was in 2nd edition. So he killed 3 veteran 10-man with 1 swing, and I had to talk that guy down. He was, I mean, it was brutal. So
yeah.
Hey, you bet he learned a lesson though.
Yeah.
Bet you spread out every game after that.
Yeah.
I'm
respect the Nebel Warfers.
They're a slot machine.
They will warp your Nebels if you aren't careful.
Every once in a while.
If you put all your shit in one spot.
If you get all your Nebels in one spot, they'll warp them.
Yeah, they will.
But the other last part of our scoring there is theme and comp. So that's 5 points. And so that's looking at your army, looking if it's kind of more historically aligned. So we're not pulling stuff from early war, mid-war, late war, throwing it all together. With that, we also, so that's part of the theme part. We also have the comp side of it. So if you're taking 5 units of Gurkhas or whatever, you're not going to get your comp points there. Even if that's allowed in the event, normally we have a limit on Gurkhas or a Gurkha ban. But
sure,
not overlooking the fact that if Marines have half tracks on their list. Marines historically did not really have very many half tracks.
No, you gotta have the LBTs.
LBTs.
Which I hope to see more of because those are so cool.
They are.
But yeah, I gotta get some of those myself. Just keep pushing it off for other cool toys that I want to buy.
Yep.
Yeah, there's so many toys.
Oh yeah,
there are a lot of toys.
So that's our event scoring there. So 110 points is the maximum there. So that's what we judge it off of once it comes down to it.
As far as the comp goes, you do that on for most tournaments, not just the team one. Correct?
Oh yeah, that's for all of them.
Okay.
I can't recall a Chicago Dice event that hasn't had that theme or comp in there.
Interesting. Okay.
Is that basically the don't bring your dick list rule?
Pretty much. Like I said, we're not trying to play for. We're not running win at all cost events here. So we normally have an order dice limit. We're not looking for order dice spam. We want our games to finish. Or get to at least the last turn, the turn before the last turn is our goal.
Sure.
So we want people to come out, enjoy their games, because we got a lot of guys who just come out for the events themselves. They don't play too much at the local store or even at home, so we want to make sure those guys are included there. It's more of like a community, bringing everyone together. And then after game one, it kind of filters out who's playing to play, and then who's there to play just with their friends, And so it works.
Makes sense.
Works itself out that way too.
Okay.
And we got some guys who show up that are incredibly good players. That no matter what restrictions we throw on there, they always end up top tables too. So they figure it out.
Yeah, the list making doesn't stop the good players from being good.
No, exactly. And so that's our overall goal there. And then for event awards, we do best overall, so person, top general. I know different groups call it different things. So whoever has the highest total points. From there, we have best Axis and best Allies. Now, that always gets a little iffy because even at Adepticon here, I think that we had 4 or 5. It was either Allied or Axis. We're in the first 4 or 5 top places. So then, there's no third best. So the guy in 6th ended up getting best Allies or whatever it was because everyone else was on the other side. That was the top scorers there.
Yep.
I always.
That's also kind of.
If you're advertising that, hey, we're doing best overall, best Axis, best Allies, then that's people need to going into that this is okay. Well, I went Axis, so let me poke my nose around other Axis players and see what they're doing. So, it's a thing.
We have that listed on the site too, and what we also do is on the website. Now, whenever anyone registers, we'll throw their name on the list on that webpage that has the player pack. So you can see who signed up, and then once they pick what side they're on, we'll throw that on there. And then in V2 as well, we actually put the theater selector next to their name too. So you could be cheeky a little bit if you wanna call it that, and wait till the last minute to see what everyone else brought and what's on the webpage there, and then make your pick. But I know most of our guys register and get all that stuff up there at least a couple.
You guys got to do what they do in Scotland, where it's Megatron, where only one person gets the theater selector.
Oh yeah, I listened to that. That was pretty cool. The Megatron 3000 or whatever.
Insane.
Yeah.
That was cool.
They have the list out there now, and it's I didn't know that was a theater selector. I should go look at that one.
Right?
There are so many choices. It's incredible.
Oh, I don't want to do the admin work that he's doing.
I was just going to say.
I was like, good for you. That's not for me. There's enough work already involved.
Isn't he? He charges a fee for it, right? Like
it's like
a
$5 fee.
Yeah, he bakes in an admin fee if you want to change your theater.
Yeah,
because then he's got to go do all this, and he's like, "Screw that, mate. I'm charging you a beer."
Yep.
And that's perfect. I like that.
Yeah, I like that. But shit, what was I going to ask about that? I lost my train of thought on that one. But
should we take a quick break then?
Yeah, that sounds great. Let's take a short break. We'll come back, wrap this sucker up. There's a few more things to talk about, but we'll get through it in a short.
Besides that, people like us to play music. I had to mash it into Alistair's episode, but let's face it, everyone's here for the music anyway.
No, obviously.
I don't know about that, but hope you enjoy the music. We'll be right back.
All right.
Above, you make my sad heart jump with joy. And when you're near, I just can't sit still a minute. I'm so, oh Johnny, please tell me, dear, what makes me love you so? You're not handsome, it's true, but when I look at you, I just, oh Johnny, oh, how the girls are crazy about a certain little lad. Although he's very, very bad, he could be oh so good when he wanted to. Bad or good, he understood about love and other things. For every girl in town followed him around just to hold his hand and sing.
Oh, Johnny!
Oh, Johnny, how you can love.
Oh, Johnny!
Oh, Johnny, heaven up above, way above. You make my sad heart jump with joy. And when you're near, I just can't sit still another minute.
Oh, Johnny!
Oh, Johnny, please tell me, dear, what makes me love you so? You're not handsome, it is true, but when I look at you, I just, oh, Johnny, my da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Johnny, oh, Johnny, oh, Johnny, oh, Johnny, oh, Johnny, oh, Johnny, oh. Oh, Johnny, please tell me, dear, what makes me love you so? You're not handsome, it is true, but when I look at you, I just, oh, Johnny, oh, Johnny, oh, Johnny.
Cool. All right, welcome back. Hope you enjoyed the music.
Of course.
I loved it.
Wonder what it was. I'm sure it was good.
I have to wait to find out.
Right? So says we all. Nobody knows what it is yet. Not even Pat knows.
Except for those that have just listened to it.
Right. Just a weird time traveling paradox here.
Let me get my hot tub.
Oh man,
Oh, jeez. Wow. That's a good reference for you, Pat. Yeah. That's perfect.
Should I have gone with DeLorean? Would that have been more?
No,
I like the hot tub reference there. Personally.
Yeah, I was going to say hot tub time machine's a thing, man. I'm on board. All right, let's dive into scenarios then. There's so many ways you can do this, and I don't know if any of them are wrong. I think you just have to be ready for whatever comes your way. So, how do you guys handle this? Do you guys release them before the tournament? Right, some people, you're not obviously putting them in your player pack, but are you releasing them before the tournament or before lists are due? Or do you hope that people bring like an all-comers list and expect...
Game day surprise?
Yeah. Game day surprise.
Yeah, so we've kind of experimented with this as well. Originally, lists were not released, or not lists, scenarios were not released until day of. Right when you showed up, checked in, we'd hand them out. I got some feedback from players that they would like to see them early, just because it eats up into some time. We're on a time crunch here for all these games to finish, and so players let me know that they want to see them early. That way they could read them beforehand and then not spend time before the game starts, kind of run through the packet, and then
or
figure
the
out...
middle of the game.
Or the end of the game is
or the end of the game.
You're looking at the actual victory conditions on the last turn. This is what I frequently see there. I'm guilty of that
being
myself.
Called out here.
So I got that feedback, and so I started releasing for a couple years there. Once the due date was in, or when all the lists were supposed to be submitted, if you submitted yours, I would go ahead and email you the scenario pack. Most of the time, I'd wait until everyone's lists were in, but I know most of the local guys here, so I got a little more lenient with that. Just as long as the day hit, you had your stuff in, I'd send it out. What I found with that is people wanted the pack beforehand so they could read it beforehand, but no one actually was reading it beforehand, is what I saw.
Hang on. Wait. What? Players don't read the pack or the scenarios even if you give them to them?
It's wild. So I stopped. I was like, why am I sending these out if no one's going to read them beforehand anyways? Currently we're not sending them out beforehand. I still personally think it's a good idea. I read them beforehand. I actually was on Chicago Dice one time, and they were posted there. We have a mission pack because we create custom scenarios for all of our events, or 99% of them. My 4-star last year didn't because it was like a month after V3 dropped, so I just kept it real simple with the book missions type stuff. But
so you don't have people rolling dice to generate their scenario in a tournament?
No, we won't mention names for who does that, but we all know. So we like to come up with custom missions because those ones in the book, they get pretty stale frequently, or they get stale, after some run-throughs, and there's a good number of them in there too that are pretty tough for playing a tournament. So it's very one-sided on a lot of them.
And some are just not suitable for tournament play.
Yeah, it was real tough with the Italians rule before they changed it in the recent FAQ with the no running beforehand. I can't remember what the mission's called, but it's one where it's in the middle of the table. You got to run and grab it and run it off. Playing Italians on that mission, I think it was top secret. Playing against Italians with that, I was like, you're already a leg up. I can't even catch you at this point, like before the game even started. So, so it made it real tough. We try to make things more balanced. We try to focus on mobility a lot with those missions that we create too. So, things are moving, and that's our goal, is to make people move. We don't want to just have everyone sit and just blink back and forth at each other. So, So normally they're out day of, and then we'll post all of them on the website as well. So we have a page on there for mission packs, and all of them from all the past events are on there. Adepticon's not up there yet from this year, but it should be at some point.
Okay.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that teams round 2, I would like to redo a list and try that one again, because I did not have a list for it, and I was quickly crunched on both sides and never left my zone.
Oh, man. Well, yeah, I'll see if we can get that pack put up there. Talk to the guys and see when we're expecting that to get up there, and I can always ping you guys the link, or I can post in your guys' Discord too, whatever works.
Sure.
That'd be great.
Okay, so that covers the scenarios. So you don't send them out so that people can read them while they're generating their list, but you'll give them to them so they have the opportunity to read and understand them before they play in the tournament.
Possibly, depending on the event there.
Sure.
They might get a day of, depending.
Okay. And either of those is fine, because like you said, you can give the players you can give the players the secret word they just have to say, and they get an automatic victory, and they won't read the pack and see that.
It's amazing when you see lists come in too, and you have your player pack even published, and the lists that you get aren't following the player pack rules that are publicly posted.
Right.
Yeah.
No gatekeeping on those at all. So.
No, you can't use the British Jeep with the flamethrower. No, that's not. That's a V2. You missed that part.
Oh yeah, I found that in all game systems because I've played Blood Bowl and Age of Sigmar and different stuff before too, and I've come across that in all game systems. So it's a fault that all gamers have, is what I've come to realize, not just a bolt action thing. We don't like to
So
read.
what about the lists themselves that other players are in? Do you ever release those for people to review before a game, post them afterwards, or just leave them up to get a copy from your opponent if you really want to remember what their list was?
We default to leaving it up to grab one from your opponent. I honestly would like if we can post them on the website, which that's something I might take back to the guys to see if we can do. Because the ones that I personally run, I have my G drive and I save them all, and that way I can kind of see, all right, what lists were performing well, and also, like I said, I know a lot of the guys too pretty well. We got a good number of guys that show up to each event there, so I've got to know them over the years. See who's playing well, what people are taking. Kind of gives us an overall feel of the landscape of the game, is what I like. And I think releasing that to the public would be beneficial for us as a community. So,
I think right now, in the early days of E3, and I say early days even though it's been out for, 7-8 months.
Yeah, like we said, we don't know the books yet, so it's ever changing. Yeah, especially with how many books we're expecting to be released. I mean, I think it's gonna be like 2028 or something by the time we get all the books or whatever. So
Yep.
Well, that's okay. We won't have version 4 until 2040.
Exactly. So
we'll be lucky if we even see that happen at that point.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, there is that. So we covered scoring, we covered lists, and yeah, it would be nice just to see lists, especially even if you just release here's the top awards, the top 3 players, the top whatever, what did they run, so people can kind of get oh, okay, maybe I'm newer to the game, I finished poorly. These are maybe the units that I focused on that turned out aren't really that good. And maybe that gives the community some guidance on it. I don't know. Or like we said, good players are just good regardless of the list.
Look at half the list that John Stens takes, and you're like, I don't know how this shit works.
I wouldn't take that.
Yeah.
Why is
are you doing
partisans?
That?
Yep.
I've taken some lists that I feel like are very strong, and then I don't perform so well sometimes. So it's like
I know that feeling too.
It's like, what did I do wrong?
What did I do wrong?
Yeah. So.
And think about it this way: if you guys can find a way to publish lists, you'll get a video from Bo made about it.
Oh, there's that.
So if you don't know who Bo is, he's a Danish YouTube dude.
We know who, we're aware of Bo.
Okay.
And
I think all of Bolt Action is aware of Bo. At least should be.
Yeah, they should.
He's got some great stuff. I like his reviews. There's one tournament I had where the guy had a really unique list, and then the guy showed up at the tournament, and he's like, "Can I get one more podcast about my effing list, please?"
Have we done it yet? Did we?
We did. Yeah,
we did.
He had the 4 or 5 British airborne recce jeeps back in the end of E2.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Fun
so
stuff.
here's the big question for you. It's game day. What are your duties and responsibilities? What is it that you are doing for the players to keep the event moving?
Yeah, so at the ones that I TO, that I'm the head TO at, I normally try to be seated as least as possible. That's whenever I'm doing admin work. So punching in those scores into whatever Best Coast pairings is what I typically use, but also have pen and paper too. So we have all the scores on the sheets that are written down, and then I have to enter them manually. But I'll save all those till after the event just to make sure that everything was punched in correctly. So that's what I'm doing in between games. But during games, what I really like to do is walk the tables. And that's just to check in, see how everyone's doing, how their game's going, what turn they're on. Give them an update on how much time's left in the game. I'll try to do major callouts as well, so you have 15 minutes left or you're halfway through or whatever. But just when I'm walking the tables, I'll throw out a reminder, whatever time we're at. So I think that's helpful for the players there.
Absolutely. As a player in a tournament, and one of yours in particular, it's really easy to lose track of what the hell time it is.
Oh, definitely.
Super easy. All right, 90 minutes left. Crap, we should probably finish deploying.
Yeah, that's always a big one. Depending on who you get paired up, and if you know the guys, you can see who they're paired up against, and you might know that you might have to check in on that table just because they might just be talking the whole time. And I've been guilty of that too with different players, and you know what? That's on me at that point. If I'm doing that, I know my game's not gonna finish, and I'll take it for what it is as long as it's not impacting other people. But if there's a talkative person and they're paired with someone that really wants to play, there's I can make sure it gets played. So
that sounds like you have a pretty good grip on your player base.
Oh yeah, we have I'd say a core 10 normally we have 18 to 24 open spots for our events. And I'd say there's probably 10 or 12 that show up to all of them. And then there's like the other 12, or maybe like the other 20 guys that are, they might show up to some and not the others, but after doing this for 4 or 5 years, got to know all of them pretty decently. So, one of the other responsibilities, or not responsibilities, but one of the things that I do is at the events that I run, I'm kind of like the guy at the baseball game that's carrying around the snacks, and so run around like the guys at the baseball stadiums or whatever, and I'll ask if anyone needs a beer or snacks or whatever, then I'll go and bring it to them.
You should make like your own baseball card and throw his right-handed peanuts range, or put like range bands of your like potato chips, peanuts.
Yeah. And then one of the things that I always, so the first year I did it, I bought like 3 or 4 different kinds of soda, and what I realized is that the Mountain Dew was about the only thing that got drank. So now I buy 3 cases of Mountain Dew, and normally they're almost all gone. So like Code Red, the standard Mountain Dew, and then whatever flavor is out at that time. So
sure,
run around with those as well.
Yeah, I find most people will drink Mountain Dew, regardless of whether or not they prefer other soda.
Option.
Yeah.
Not to get too deep into, again, the diet restrictions of everybody, but...
Well, Pat, if you come out, I'll have to make sure to get a diet version, because we're all sugar people, I guess, in Chicago, and our drinking is great. Drinking 3 or 4 of them in the single day, which can't be good for us, but...
Yeah, you're standing all day, so at least you're getting some exercise.
It's gamer fuel.
Probably wouldn't kill me, but it would make my day regrettable.
Crash midway through Game 3.
Oh, yeah. You're drinking... you start off with a Mountain Dew, and then Game 2 you have a couple of beers, and then, a couple 2-3 mores of Mountain Dews for Game 3 to pick you back up again, so...
Right, now you switch to the Morgan Cokes by Game 3.
Yeah,
and
that's
we'll have some guys
time.
that bring Jaeger and stuff like that, too, so...
Oh, God. Wow, these sounds like parties. Jesus. You need to come
arrange for your Uber cab by the end of the day. Got it.
Yeah, right.
That's one of the great parts, is that a lot of the guys, good core of them live in the city, so they can just take the L or whatever back home too. So
nice. That is actually really nice.
For that one, yeah. That's our home event, is what I like to call it. At our home store in the home city. I no longer live in Chicago, so now it's a hike for me, but still put it on for everyone else that's there.
That's the price you pay, right?
Exactly.
I'm assuming you're still near the city then, though?
Yeah, I'm like an hour and a half now away, so it's a little bit of a hike.
That's a long ways. Okay.
Yeah, but
that could be like 2 miles in Chicago, though.
Oh yeah, definitely. It's taken crazy amounts of time. I've walked home faster when I lived there than driving before. So
okay, that sounds about right.
Yeah,
it depends on the day. I like their mass transit though. Like, it's nice to have that as an option.
Definitely.
Is the store that you guys play at regularly near the mass transit?
Yeah, so there is it's a red line stop that it's by, but
sure.
The issue's been for the past, I want to say, 3 years now, that the exit's been under construction, that stop. I don't know why it's taken 3 years to get that one done, but they're sleeping on that one. So
I don't know. We've had a train line out here that's been promised for about 10 years and still needs another 8 to finish. So
oh, jeez.
I was just saying, the road by my house is constantly under construction. So
yeah.
Oh, I got the fun thing that they're putting all new gas lines in their neighborhoods. They're going to tear up all my front lawn and destroy my sprinkler system.
Dear Lord, like your house isn't that old.
No, but the neighborhood is.
Oh, sure.
Yep.
That'll do. That's the thing. All right. Well, I want to come to your tournaments because I can get sodas and beers. But
let's talk about prizes first.
I was just commenting on the food and stuff. That's fun.
I think all bolt action players at this stage that getting more plastic isn't why they're going to events, but it is a nice, cool thing to go. So what do you do for prizes, and who do you ping to get stuff?
Oh yeah. So our overall goal, and I think we've been successful of this at least since I've been on board with Chicago Dice the past 3 years or so, is that everyone walks away with a prize. So far, we've managed that. We have some guys that 3D print, and so if we're ever short on anything, they'll go in and print stuff up. They don't charge anything. They'll just do it to make sure that everyone gets something.
That's cool.
We call our local guy the Prince of Prince. So he helps us all out greatly, just as a community. So he's a big one there. And then outside of that, kick-ass mail order is
Oh yeah.
probably my favorite store to buy my stuff from. Number one, I love those guys. It's always great talking to the owner too. Whenever I see him at events, so I've talked to him about running events at his store too. We'll see if that ever pans out, but that's pretty far north of me. And then from there, Warlord, of course. They're always great with the prize support. John's awesome to work with, and I always like talking to him too. I know I'm going to
make
forget
sure
some.
you carve out at least 20 minutes if you have one question.
Luckily, I've managed to get out of there a little quicker than that, but I don't mind talking to John. So
He's always got great stories. He's a good guy.
Oh yeah. And then he told me I found out he was working on some K-47 stuff too, so I was trying to pick his ear on that. But this is a bolt action podcast, not K-47. So, and with the prizes, Noble Knights has always been great as well.
Okay.
Micro Art Studio is another big one. Their terrain is awesome. I mean, just throw it together, and honestly, I think it works out to be cheaper once you factor in your labor cost of any of the other terrain that's out there, honestly. So, love getting their stuff out there. Micro Art Studio, and then what is the paint company? Pro Acryl, Monument Hobbies. They've also given us stuff before as well. Normally it's like some paintbrushes and stuff like that, or gift cards that they'll toss out.
Nice.
Trying to think, father and son, who is no longer, I guess, hanging by a thread right now. Yeah. So they've sent some stuff before as well. I'll have to check and see if we have a list of all these guys actually, because we sent out emails to like Army Painter, and they've supported us before as well.
I've found that they have hoops that you have to jump through, but you have to do them early enough. Yeah,
they did ask for a form. We were running a raffle, like an additional raffle that year as well, to raise some money for Invictus Games, I believe it's called. So,
okay.
Like the Olympics for any of the guys wounded veterans and stuff like that.
Oh,
so
cool.
That's why they sent us stuff one year, was for that. Chicago Dice Dojo, they'll provide support as well, whether it's gift cards or bolt action products. And I know that there's some other guys out there too that I'm gonna have to think of. The list is just so large.
You usually include that in your game, your day of tournament pack with the scenarios, right? That's usually.
Oh yeah. All those guys' logos are
that.
printed in there. And then I always make sure, if I don't do it at the start of the event, at least at the end of the event, before any of the prizes get handed out or anyone comes up and picks one, to call out all the different sponsors that we had and let everyone know wherever it's coming from. So we're always grateful for all the different companies that provide us with everything.
All we can do is return the favor and help guide their customers to them.
Oh yeah, yep. And I love what Kick-Ass does, is that they hand out the dice and then the free shipping card. I feel like what happens is that you go up there, you pick your thing, and it might have a sticker on it from who it came from. And so then you go home with that one, but that doesn't advertise to everyone, because not everyone's not going home with that same sponsor. So,
right.
Trying to talk to our sponsors and see if there's anything else that, like just those little cards or anything, that can go out and get handed out to each person.
I like the Kick-Ass does the two little dice in there.
Oh yeah. I have so many of those now from ordering from their site too. So it's insane.
And the candy. I like the candy too.
Candy goes straight to the daughter, and she loves it.
That's her.
Yeah. Candy's a nice touch as well. And this year at Combat Patrol and at Doubles, they had a canteen up there with an official Kick-Ass mail order packaging, a $20 bill rolled up that said beer money on it. And so that was one of the best prizes that I think I've ever seen up there on the table. Surprised it didn't go as quick, actually.
We got their insulated thermoses, and
awesome.
Those when we did the raffle for it, those were among the top things. Once the big things were off the table, those went before some of the other Army sets did.
Oh yeah, like you said, a lot of us already have all the plastic we need and then some. So any of those little niche items, I mean, like Badger Games, which is Old Guard Games. They handed out T-shirts at their event, so I have an Old Guard Games shirt from that, which is awesome. I got a insulated wine glass from a Kick-Ass mail order at Adepticon as well.
Nice.
That was pretty cool. So yeah, any of those little things like that, I feel like are just awesome to hand out to players that aren't just more miniatures. Because, like I said, we already have enough of those to paint that we may never paint. So
yeah. I've myself got gone through my own pile of shame and going, I'm not painting this, and put it into the prize support for my next event.
Oh,
somebody
Rubicon.
else might do this.
I forgot Rubicon. How could I forget Rubicon?
Oh God, they're awesome.
yeah.
Those guys are awesome. So
They're instant too.
Immediately, like no
Yeah.
questions asked. Like you just tell them, hey, this is what I'm running. Like here's how many players I have, and then boom, it's on its way.
But like next day is like, here's your shipping notice. Like,
Yep.
wow, okay, cool.
And I know it's been mentioned on this podcast before, but their kits, their tanks are leagues above anyone else's that I've built or put
Yeah.
together. So,
I really like their kit.
Their kits are phenomenal.
oh yeah.
I will say that Warlord is. I mean, they're not catching up, but they're serviceable now. Where before, you couldn't pick anything other than Rubicon.
Is it the Alatari kits that like would only result in your
Italiari,
fingers?
yeah.
Those
Your
are the
finger. The
worst.
only result in that was your fingers would 100% be glued together.
Oh,
Well,
yeah.
yeah.
I'd have
I can't get the
fingerprints.
tracks together on my Easy 8 from Warlord. So I'm like, I
Years,
should just
years
bought
down the road,
got
the
one.
FBI can get my fingerprints off of those tracks.
Right? Yeah. Like the one. Yeah, you'd always lift the fingerprint. That was the favorite thing. Yeah,
Oh yeah.
that's the thing. But well, the Rubicon's still the best. They're the best in the business right now.
Oh,
Though
definitely.
3D print is also catching up too.
It's coming along.
Yeah.
3D prints are great for sure. I always prefer the plastic kits just because I like putting them together, and sometimes you get those little extra details there. But I mean, yeah, if you're
And you
awesome
often
to
get
find those niche things.
yeah, you often get options too, like I can put these little bits in here and do other things.
Exactly. Or like
I
some
do
tanks
like-
that aren't made. I like the
I need-
Sioux. Oh, yeah.
Go ahead. Sorry, I was just gonna say I need heft to my tanks so I don't knock them off the table.
I
Like the
pour
Sioux
plaster
76i.
Paris into plaster Paris into my tanks. Once
Yeah,
they're
that
all
works.
assembled.
Yep.
Yeah, I like a little weight to them. So the resin prints are great for that too.
Right.
Which I think Warlord has really moving a lot towards their resin tanks.
And mention of the resin tanks. I mean, Trenchworks is another one that supports us.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
So,
Their stuff's fantastic.
oh yeah,
I put those in the premium category for multiple reasons.
Well, so
right.
so you mentioned before that you make sure everyone's coming home. Do you, going home with a prize of some kind, do you allocate certain prizes for people that win? Do you just do a raffle? Like, is it all over the place? What do you guys do?
Or you
Yeah.
just throw them up in the air and whoever catches it.
It's just like a game of 500. You're just throwing them.
Right? Oh no, it's French artillery!
as much fun as that would be, I feel like it'd be a little chaotic in the venues that we usually run our events out of. So we
Sure.
have a little more structure than that.
Okay.
But the first thing we do is, it depends. Sometimes we'll go with best appearance first or player choice to come up. But I'd say typically it's usually best overall. So whoever our event awards for will come up and get to pick from the table. We just have everything laid out on, so they get to pick. It's surprising sometimes because those guys that come in first, they'll be like the whole entire army starter box up there, and they might just pick like a blister pack because they might already have everything they need. And so it's
that
kind of
the
surprising
truth?
what gets left up there. But yeah, so we have best overall. We have best appearance, which is the one on the rubric that we actually grade with the paint scores. And then we have player's choice, which is the army that gets voted the most on players, which ones they like the most. So,
Okay.
like the Hollywood one. I mean, when I saw that at Adepticon, I was like, this is player choice easy. Like, there's no way this one's getting out of here without being player's choice.
Yeah, that would be John Stentz, and yeah.
Yeah. So you'll get some of
His
those
stuff
that
is
are...
you should see some of the boards that we had for when we did our Hollywood a couple years ago. The creativity and artistic that these guys has, which just how do you pick one of these?
Oh,
yeah.
It's a little tricky.
We had one guy that did the whole Raiders of the Lost Ark
Yeah.
thing.
I was going to mention that when I saw one on your Discord, and that one I saved those photos of. I was like, this is awesome.
That's damn.
Yeah. And it had the
So
underside,
fun.
too, where you could look in underneath the...
Yeah.
Oh, he
Yeah.
had he had where they were digging they were trying to find the
Yeah. That was
spot
incredible.
where it was or whatever.
Yeah,
But yeah,
I
hey,
immediately posted that
congratulations,
into our
John and
Discord.
Paul, for winning that. That's nice to bring an award back to the Twin Cities with us.
Yes.
And yeah, so that one was awesome. Like I said, I stole that picture and immediately posted it into the Chicago Dice Discord, and was like, "Look, check this out." It was
Look what
awesome.
Minneapolis is doing. What the
Yeah,
hell?
yeah. I was like, we got to do something like this, and maybe we will coming up here for the next 4-star a little bit. Might be stealing a little bit of your Operation SNAFU with the theme stuff here, but
Hey, that's why we
Do
do
it.
all this stuff,
Yep.
guys.
Yep.
But yeah,
you've already given me a couple ideas that I'll be taking to my tournaments as well. I'll be handing out water, and I'll be getting some snack chips and whatnot. So
awesome. Yeah, and so that it's always nice to be able to borrow from the community and see what other people are doing, and that way you can kind of incorporate it and see what works for your crew, your area, and what works for you. But yeah, otherwise, with the prize of best access, best allies, best battlefield's another one that we have, and that's by player votes. Once all those guys come up and pick everything, and then it usually goes, depending on who's running the event from our group, some guys will have a random generator that they'll just pull from. Otherwise, it's just by the order that you placed in. Polar vortex, which happens in usually February. It's like a Adepticon primer is what we'll call it. It's south of the city, in the suburbs. The guys this year who did it, they had a projector, which was awesome. And so what they did is they projected like a wheel with everyone's name on it up on the wall, and it would spin, and whoever's name landed on it got to come up and pick their prize. So, and then the name would be popped off of there. So,
oh man, you'd have to do that quick though.
Oh yeah.
Well, there's apps for that. That's pretty slick. I like that.
Yeah, he just clicked the button, it spun, and then there were just the last two names up there, and so it was kind of funny to see, all right, who's going to get the pick from the other two boxes that are up there, kind of stuff. So we all enjoyed that.
I always feel really sad when you do those pick things for like the last 5 things on the table. You're like, oh, nobody likes these. Why do I put them up there?
Yeah, it's like some weird random book that's not related to bolt action at all.
Actually, those go quicker than some of the Italian blisters.
That's fair. Good point, actually. Yeah.
Oh yeah, we try to like the books as well. So sometimes we'll have like a German tank book or U.S. like Allied tank book up there, and those usually go pretty quick as well. So like anything that's not the miniatures, I feel like we've already talked about.
Mm-hmm.
Wooden spoon we always try to have fun with, which I've seen a lot of TOs do. Usually like another book for another game or something like that along the lines. This year we had a miniature golf set, so it was like a board game that was golf, and that's what the wooden spoon got this year at Polar Vortex. Nice. So that was kind of fun there.
Gosh, I almost think that the wooden spoon, you should like give him a fully painted net list or something that he can try.
Oh, just give him an army box. He'll be all right.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I won wooden spoon, and I played a lot of games, and I don't need a whole box here. So, I have enough boxes sitting around.
Or do you?
Yeah, there's always that. It just comes down to space at the end of the day.
Yeah,
so, all right, where am I going to put this?
All right, good deal. So, you've cleared the hurdle of Adepticon, and that must have been just a ridiculously mass undertaking for the volume and number of players you guys have for that. And nice job running it, by the way. Mm-hmm. The day as being a player in the doubles with Jeff was very smooth, honestly. Other than I did mess up because I had the player pack and I had the scenario. I was reading the scenario that was on the left side, and I saw that there was a score on the right side, but it happened to be the score for the other game, and I wrote that down and turned it in, and I'm like, well, what happened to scenario 2? Why don't we have that?
I made that mistake at my first Chicago Dice event that I went to, because what I learned is that we included, always put it on the back of the page, and the last one is Mission 1. That way you can pull it off and then keep the rest of the pack.
Yep.
So I've liked that a lot.
I did that. I was reading Mission 1 and flipped it over and saw, oh, here's a score page, okay. But I was scoring Mission 2.
Yep. It's a real thing.
So...
Oh, yeah, easy to do when you're trying to get all your dice out and your minis out. And
yeah, Sam told me I wasn't the first person that did that. And I said, don't worry, I don't think I'll be the last either.
Oh, definitely not.
So he just smiled and gave me a new pack, and I moved back on about my day.
Perfect. Yeah, those were those two guys' first tournaments that they were running bigger ones at least too. So it was good to see them perform well and get everything taken care of for those.
One really nice thing I will say about the doubles is that you guys, instead of pretending that there was a chance in hell 6 turns were going to happen, in all the scenarios you said it was ending on turn 5.
That's something we try to take into account too. We definitely don't have any of that roll to see if there's another turn in there, because that doesn't work very well for events.
I mean, there wasn't even a turn 6. It's like, no, we know that's not going to happen. We're giving you 3 hours. But it's doubles. It ain't going to happen. There's 40 dice, almost 40 dice in that bag. Never going to happen. And I appreciate you guys understanding that.
Yep.
Oh, yeah. Time is a big consideration. I know we're even starting to mess with the point levels a little bit, because Border Wars is 1,100 points, just to see if we can get through all the turns with that instead of the 1,250. So Yeah, we're always trying different things out. We try to do some play testing beforehand, but there's only so many games that you can get in yourself and with your buddies. So.
Yeah, when writing scenarios, and Jeff and I do this a lot. It's the more feedback you can get on it, even if people aren't playing it but are actually just reading through it, helps.
Oh yeah, that's one of the big things that I do as a TO as well, because I'll read something and I know what I meant or what I put in there, and there might be words missing where the sentence just doesn't even read well, but my brain just plugs them in. And so I definitely send it to 2 or 3 guys beforehand. I'm like, hey, can you just proofread this? It's like, let me know, does this make sense? Any questions about it? And they'll send that over. And hopefully that eliminates some of the day one questions. There's always more that come up because everyone's going to read something a little different. But that's something as a TO
English
that I
is
try to
weird
do.
that way.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I've got one player in particular who's always like, hey, Pat, this says where thou. Do you mean this thus? I'm like, oh, Jesus. So, yeah. I mean, so what do you have? Do you have your November one? Do you have anything between here and there, or do you got the summer off to do fun stuff?
Yeah, so my big one is the one in November. Sometimes I try to fit in another one in there. Like I had a Tank Wars event called Operation Circus that I ran last year. So I was thinking about doing another Tank War this year. But the November one this year I might try to do, because it might be 4-star the final star, because it's been around for 4 years now, and I might shift to something else or maybe take a year off from TOing. So I don't want this one to go out with a bang and do more of a narrative style thing where, like how you guys do, if you win, allies get a bonus or whatever.
Cool.
Kind of deal. So that's what's coming up for that one. If everything pans out there, because I got to get a lot of missions written and then find out tables and stuff like that. It's a lot of pre-work. But otherwise, Border Wars is coming up on Memorial Day weekend. Wisconsin versus Illinois with some guys from Iowa, Michigan mixed in there. There are individual winners for there, but overall whose name goes on the big trophy is the state that wins that one. So Wisconsin won last year, so we're hoping to take one home for Illinois this year. We got another one coming up in June or July. That one's going to be more like your guys' Recon Rumble from the way that it's sounding like. And then in August, we have one coming up that's supposed to be in Indiana that I mentioned a little bit earlier. That's going to be Michigan versus Illinois. At least that's the idea at the moment. And then we got some other guys that are talking about running some stuff too. Another guy ran a local combat patrol one in the suburbs just 2 or 3 weeks ago. So we've recently got a lot of guys that are stepping up to the plate for TOing. So it looks like we're getting 4 or 5 events a year actually at this point in time. So the group's really coming together. Yeah.
So anyone listening in the Twin Cities area, see how easy it is to put tournaments together?
It's really not so hard.
It's really not so hard.
Especially if you get your hands on a player pack and a mission scenario pack, you can just take that as long as... Yeah.
Reach out to anyone that's posting scenario packs. Reach out to any of us here, and we'll give you the guidelines. Set it up, even if it's a 1-day event. Players will like to do that. That's good to hear. You got a lot coming up. That's great.
Yeah, super exciting. It's getting late. I think we're all getting tired. Should we wrap this sucker up?
Yeah. Hey, Shane. Thanks again for all that you've done at Adepticon. It was great. I love the experience I had with doubles with Jeff. It was a really enjoyable tournament. It went well from a player's standpoint, and I know TOs don't get to hear that very often, so thank you. And Jeff, I think, also enjoyed his experience at Combat Patrol based
Loved
on
it.
the combat with him, or the conversation with him. So yeah, really good job. Excellent work. No one can ever thank TOs enough, so I humbly thank you, sir, for the work you do.
Of course, yeah. No, thank you guys for all the stuff that you do, for putting out this podcast, for running your guys' Discord as well, because it was definitely a huge resource when I was getting started with this, just having somewhere to land and take a look at stuff.
There's plenty of people there who've got lots of opinions.
There are very many. Go ahead and take a look at Reddit.
That's fair.
This is like a more directed and informative Reddit.
Yes. Reddit's way more anonymous. We can kind of tame. It's just a little more.
Little more all people who want to do the same thing. So
yeah. There's a little less trolly shit going on there for sure.
Less anyway, yeah.
Less.
I said less.
You did. I was agreeing.
Yep.
Reinforcing.
Well, yeah, again, appreciate it. Pat, get us out of here.
All right. This has been Tournament Organized Series number 3. SNAFU is over and out.
Whew, that was a lot of words.
It was.
Good night, guys.
Everybody.
Night.
Bless 'em all, bless 'em all, the long and the short and the tall. Bless all the sergeants and WO1s, bless all the corporals and their thinking sons, 'cause we're saying goodbye to them all, as back to their billets they crawl. You'll get no promotion this side of the ocean, so cheer up my lads, bless 'em all.
Bless 'em all, bless 'em all, the long and the short and the tall. Bless all the sergeants and WO1, bless all the corporals and their ranking sons, 'cause we're saying goodbye to them all, as back to their billets they crawl. You'll get no promotion this side of the ocean, so cheer up my lads, bless them all.
We're gonna hang out the washing on the Siegfried line. Have you any dirty washing, mother dear? We're gonna hang out the washing on the Siegfried line, 'cause the washing day is here. Whether the weather may be wet or fine, we'll just rob along without a care. We're gonna hang out the washing on the Siegfried line, if the Siegfried line's still there.
Hang out the washing on the Siegfried line. Have you any dirty washing, mother dear? We're gonna hang out the washing on the Siegfried line, 'cause the washing day is here. Whether the weather may be wet or fine, we'll just rob along without a care. We're gonna hang out the washing on the Siegfried line, if the Siegfried line's still there.
Kiss me goodnight, Sergeant Major. Tuck me in my little wooden bed. We all love you, Sergeant Major. When we hear you bawling, show a leg. Don't forget to wake me in the morning and bring me round a nice hot cup of tea. Kiss me goodnight, Sergeant Major. Sergeant Major, be a mother to me. Kiss me goodnight, Sergeant